Hello, RisingFunGaming here, and today I've got a greatsword armor set showcase video for you. We'll be looking at 3 of my favourite mix sets today, so let's get cracking on this first one. Here we've got Little Red, that's what I've called this one for obvious reasons I hope. And this is a basic high rank set that is no frills, except for those on the hood, but nevertheless is a solid little choice. It comes with 3 skills that can be gotten without too much difficulty, as long as you have a half decent focus talisman, but it's nothing too crazy so you needn't worry too much. The set uses critical draw, critical up and focus, so draw charge attacks are the order of the day here. It is also designed for use with high affinity weapons in order to take better advantage of critical up when doing non-draw attacks. So we've alluded to the fact that critical up is in on this set, so we'll quickly have a look at the statistics and skills and then we'll look how we've made it. So this set, once you've maxed out all the armor pieces, will boost your defense by 546. If you've got an armor talisman and charm in your item pack, that's going to go up to 577, as shown here. Elemental resistances include 0 to fire, 1 to water, 3 to thunder, and -5 to ice, and 3 to dragon. Popping over to the skills, we've got critical draw, critical boost, and focus. We'll have a look at the skill point table next before we look at the armor pieces. We've got 10 points to crit draw, activating into critical draw. This is a skill that will grant an extra 100% affinity to draw attacks. For those that aren't sure, this indeed works with charging draw attacks and jumping draw attacks, so they're not treated differently, and that's a really nice thing to know. So that's pretty much a very common and classical greatsword armor skill. Up next we've got critical up, which is new with Monster Hunter Generations. This one is another 10-point skill, and when it is active into critical boost, it's going to increase the damage of your critical hits. Ordinarily, critical hits will multiply your damage output by 1.25, but with critical boost, that multiplier will be 1.4. That's quite the meaty improvement, and it's a really nice skill, one of my favourite new additions for Monster Hunter Generations. And finally, we've got 10 points to fast charge, giving us focus. This is also, it's not a mandatory skill for greatsword and other weapons like hammer and stuff like that, but god, it's a really nice kind of quality of life, I guess you could say, skill for it. This one for greatsword is going to decrease the charge time by 20%, which is of obvious utility. It's really nice, really good. Now let's pop over to the equipment here. Don't want to spend too much time on this. We'll firstly address the talisman that I've got in this particular setup here. It's a fast charge 3 triple slot. That being the case, we've required 1 slot on the weapon choice that I've got here, which is the AkDaakDaak of Night, with that nice affinity for the critical up, critical boost, with that in mind. But anyway, we've got the Mofu Hood S, Chaos Arc Plate, Divine Ire Coat, the Damascus Coil R, and the Ropessa Cura S. Now, fast charge comes up to a maximum of +5 to it on the talismans. When we look at the decorations here, you'll notice that almost all of them are single slots. We've got a couple of double slots in the head and chest, which you're going to be able to put in both these pieces here. And we've used another single slot decoration there. So it's not absolutely mandatory that we have a triple slotted talisman here. Obviously, if you haven't got the points, you haven't got +3 fast charge on here, you can make it up with extra slots on whatever weapon choice you make and stuff like that. And you can just see the exact decorations we've used here. And yeah, that's the set. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. It's a nice high rank one. It's fairly easy to make in my opinion. Let's check out the next set now. The next set is probably my favourite of the 3 in the video. It was very popular in Monster Hunter Cross, and it wasn't long until we saw players using it in Monster Hunter Generations as well, and for good reason. This is the AkDaakDaak set, comprised of a Cantor R and Damascus R armors alternating, and it looks incredibly good on both genders, but especially so on male hunters. We'll do a little spin here. I've coloured the pieces in like a dark royal blue, which I think matches really nicely here. Okay, so other good things about this set is that it is also the go-to blunt greatsword set, which is good because there are a number of high-powered greatswords with green sharpness, notably this one from Uragan, which I really like, and I use a lot with this set. And the other really good thing about this set is the high defense that it comes with. Now before we look at that statistic, we'll just look at our sword here. This has got 40 defense on it already, so keep that in mind. But anyway, despite that, factoring in here, when you max out every armor piece in this armor set, it's going to boost your base defense of 1 by 632, which is massive. And when you've got the armor charm and talisman in your item pack, that's going to go up to 662. So that's pretty awesome. If you're going for the Crimson Wall greatsword like I am with this set, look at that, 703 defense. Ridiculous. Okay, as for the elemental resistances, we've got 10 to fire, 4 to water, -15 to thunder, 8 to ice, and -7 to dragon. So look out for thunder and dragon. But seeing as we've got such a high defense anyway, it might not be such a big deal, but still something to be very aware of. Okie dokie. For the skills on this set, we've got Critical Draw, Mind's Eye, Bludgeoner, and Focus. We'll have a look at the skill points table here first before we look at the equipment. We've got 11 points here. We only require 10 points. To Critical Draw, getting us Critical Draw, we've explained what that is, so moving on. Fast Charge, we've got 10, activating into Focus, we've also explained that, so we'll move on to the 2 skills that make this a good blunt greatsword set. We've got 10 points defensing, activating into Mind's Eye. Now this will prevent your attacks from bouncing. This is useful in times when you want to attack a monster when it is inconvenient to reposition to a softer part of its body, and it can be a lifesaver as bouncing recoil animation can leave the hunter very vulnerable to punishing attacks by monsters. It's a very good and useful skill. Up next we've got 10 points to blunt, activating into Bludgeoner. Now this is something that will provide an attack boost to you. It increases as sharpness level decreases, which is interesting. Attack goes up by 15 for green, 25 for yellow, and 30 for red. There are other things to take into account, however, for endpoint attack value and element value calculations, so careful planning may be necessary for different weapons and different armor sets when using the skill. Generally speaking though, green sharpness is your sweet spot, all things considered, so go for high attack greatswords that have a workable strip of green, such as the Crimson Wall from Uragan, as we've got here. Some other recommendations that I would have would include the Azure Fangblade from Velociprey or Velocidrome. It's a great choice, especially if you need a 3-slot weapon. That one happens to be a 3-slot weapon. You might need a 3-slot weapon if you haven't quite got the talisman that I do, which we'll go through a bit later. Other ones of note, I guess, is the Judgment and the Punisher. They're pretty good picks for high-powered greatswords which have some green sharpness. I think the Judgment or the Punisher don't have the biggest strip, so they're a little bit more high maintenance. So I really like the Crimson Wall. So going through the armor and the weapon and all that we have here, we've got the Acantor Mask R and Damascus Mail R. You can just see them alternating down, hence the AkDaakDaak, which is a fun way to name it with the, I guess, the Japanese style of naming these types of alternating skin armor sets, which is cool. The talisman that we've got here is a fast charge plus 4 triple slot. As I said in the last set, fast charge comes with a maximum of 5 points to talismans, so this is a pretty hard one to get, but it's not necessary because we're only requiring it here because we've got a 0-slot weapon. There's others to choose from. If you haven't quite got the plus 4, as always, I recommend that you use a different weapon to free up slots and gem in that way. And you know, you guys can do the calculations, I trust you. Now we do need a triple slot somewhere in this set for the fast charge decoration here, the Charger Jewel 3, and you can just see the other decorations that we've used here. We require 1 double slot and 1 triple slot, so depending on your setup for the talisman and the weapon, you can figure out how to do that. So that's it there, that's what it looks like. High defense, high utility, some great skills on there. You can use some of those really high powered blunt weapons, and hey, it's my favorite of the pick. So next up we're going to move on to the next one. Okay, so this last set is a very specific set that, whilst hard to make, will grant 4 really nice skills. We've left this set until last because it's a bit of a pain to make, as I said, and it restricts your weapon choice dramatically. But all of this is for the sake of having a strong build that benefits Greatsword greatly, especially for those players who want to constantly proc critical shots on the head of monsters or other weak spots through combo attacks. The skills on this set include Critical Draw, Quick Sheath, Weakness Exploit, and Focus. Now, Critical Draw and Quick Sheath promote the Draw Attack Sheath pattern of gameplay, which is valuable for pretty much any monster fight, but especially for Kieran, who's always running around and got lots of bouncy areas. You're kind of running around and hoping to run in and get those charge shots at the head when you can. I know some people will question the choice of including Weakness Exploit in this set if we've got Critical Draw, and the reason for this is to enhance follow-up combo attacks that follow the draw. In a monster fight, there will be multiple times where you stagger, trap, or otherwise immobilize the monster, and to have the initial critical draw shot be backed up with combo attacks on weak spots like the head is a very valuable thing in my opinion. With this set, we want to enhance your ability to make these combos really count. So Focus will be working to speed up charge attacks in the combo. Critical Draw is there to guarantee the initial critical on the draw for weapons of neutral affinity or better. And Weakness Exploit is there to synergize with any affinity on the weapon when striking these weak spots. As you will see later in the set specifics, we need a 3-slot weapon, so the Garuga Engetsu fits the bill here perfectly, as it has these slots and a base 25% affinity, meaning that all combo attacks on weak spots will get a 75% chance to proc critical with this armor set. Now, in conclusion, this set is going to support continual draw sheath pattern attack style, whilst additionally bolstering your affinity whilst performing combo attacks on weak spots. So that's why I like this one so much. Now looking at the statistics and skills for this set. Now, it's going to boost your defense by 518 when you've maxed out all the armor pieces. This defense will go up to 549 total with the armor charm and talisman in your item pack. Elemental resistances, we've got -1 to fire, 1 to water, 0 to thunder, -3 to ice, and 4 to dragon. So it's not super high or low on any side of the scales for those, so it's pretty neutral all around for elemental resistances. As we said before, we've got Critical Draw, Quick Sheath, Weakness Exploit, and Focus here. We've explained what Critical Draw does and what Focus does, so we'll get into these two skills. We've got 10 points to Sheathing, activating into Quick Sheath. Now this is pretty self-explanatory. This is a skill that will increase your weapon sheathing speed. This makes weapon play really fun, especially in conjunction with Critical Draw, as we do have on this set. In response to monsters that are currently not staying still, you can get a good amount of sneaky draw attacks on them, which will definitely add up and complement the big damage you'll be doing when the monster provides opportunities for your charge attacks. It's also good because the quicker you can sheath, the quicker you can get out of danger and save yourself as well. Seeing as this set doesn't have as much defense as some of the other ones, that's also very, very valuable to get out of harm's way fast. Okay, the next skill and final skill that we need to explain for this video is Tenderizer, 10 points to it, activating into Weakness Exploit. Now, as the name suggests, this skill will benefit those that are proactive in attacking the weakest parts of a monster's body. The function of the skill is that it will increase the affinity of attacks by 50% when striking monster parts with a weakness value of 45 or higher. Alright, finally let's look at the equipment here. What we have here is the Garuga Engetsu. For those that are wondering what Engetsu is, it's Japanese for full moon, so there's a little bit of trivia for you. Kind of is shown in the shape of the sword itself, which I really enjoy. Up next, Rathalos Cap R, Vespoid Mail S, the Divine Ire Coat, the Chrome Metal Coil, EX Blango Greaves, and then we've got a Talisman, Sheathing +6, triple slot. Now I said that this was hard to make, and the reason is because we need a Sheathing 6 triple slot, absolutely mandatory. Sheathing comes with a maximum of 6 points to talismans for your reference. We've also got the Garuga Angetsu or any other triple slotted weapon. I highly encourage the use of this one for the 25% affinity to synergize with weakness exploit boost of 50%. But if you don't want to use it, you could use other triple slotted weapons such as the Volca Magnon and the Foreboding Shamshir. Two of my recommendations if you want to use something different. Okay, as for the gemmings, we've got the triple slot tenderizer here, got the double slot for the draw jewel, charger jewel there, draw jewel 2 and a draw jewel 1 right there. Okay, so that's how we've made it. And that's going to bring us to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the 3 great sword mix sets here today. Will you make one or will you make all? Who knows? If you have to just make one, I'd definitely encourage you to make the second one because it's so good. I love it. But if you're super duper keen, this one is also a very big favorite and recommendation for myself. My name's RisingFunGaming. Thank you so much for watching as always. Hopefully you've enjoyed this mix set armor showcase for Greatsword. We'll see you guys in the next video, the Stay Sharp mixed set. Goodbye for now.